I'm going to take you back to growing up in Puerto Rico, and I'm just going to throw out a scene for you. Let's say your parents said to you, you were going somewhere for a week, but they wanted you to pack light. You could only take your guitar or your bat and glove. Which thing were you taking? Which item were you taking?
Oh, man. Well, it depends where I'm going. If it's outside, outdoors, I would have taken the bat and the glove and the ball. If it was more inside stuff, more subtle stuff, I definitely would have taken the guitar. I would have tried to weasel my way into taking both. No doubt about that. But if I had to pick and choose, I would probably just see where am I going first.
And how much would you have missed the other? I mean, if you didn't have your bat and your glove, or you didn't have your guitar, that would probably killed you to be away for that for a week.
Yeah, it would have been hard. It would have been really hard. But I don't know, man. I always had this affinity for both things, and I credit a lot of it to my parents. They didn't really make me choose. To see how many kids this day and age, that you either have to be a nerd or a jock. One of those things, or artsy, or just gotta I don't know, put your gloves on and try to beat somebody up. But my parents said as long as you get good grades, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. Just give me good grades. And I was able to work really hard to get those things going. And just to their credit, to have the opportunity to pursue that further in my life.
How fortunate do you feel that you have been able to have a life in both of those worlds, playing center field for the Yankees and having a storied baseball career, and now playing guitar, putting out a couple of albums, getting nominated for a Grammy? I mean, you've kind of had two dream jobs there.
I feel blessed. I mean, there's no question about the fact that you figure, you kind of work hard all your life to be good at one thing, to be blessed and have the opportunity to retire unofficially young enough.
Come on, Bernie. Let's break some news on JCTV. Are you retired? Let's
retired
break the news.
Unofficially young enough to pursue something else. Not a lot of people have an opportunity to have that, and it's great to have the opportunity to reinvent myself and doing something completely different in many ways, and I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Why do you hate that R word so much? Why won't you allow yourself to take that tiny step and say?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a little bit of that Peter Pan syndrome. I was never going to grow up. I think that it was just great to have that career, to have just 3 suspension points, there. It's just like, and will it or will he not? They'll probably keep asking the same question when I turn 60. It's like, is he going to retire now?
So you come for Old Timers Day, but if a week later they needed you for a pinch hit appearance at the Major League level,
I
you'd
think
be ready
I still
to go?
have 1 or 2 good at-bats on me, a year. But there's actually some precedent to this. There was one person, little trivia, that played at the Old Timers Day, and then he played the second half of the season. You know who that is?
Wow. I'm going to need an answer. I don't know.
It is Luis Sojo.
Oh, that's right. He played an Old Timers Day.
He played an Old Timers Day in Yankee Stadium, and then he played he got signed, and then he played the second half of the season.
How typical would that have been of Soho, though, for anybody who knew him? I mean,
he'll
be 75, and he'll be catching ground balls at shortstop.
And catching them, and he'll still be throwing the ball underhand and just hitting all kinds of dribblers, and playing well. That stuff never runs old.
You mentioned Old Timers Day. How cool is it to be able to come back, see the guys that you played with, get back out there in the field, put on the uniform? I know it's different circumstances and the pressure's not as heightened, but it's got to be a cool feeling. It
is. It is actually very cool, and I try not to let it bother me too much. It was kind of like a little bit of a balancing act. When I was playing, you always had this sort of little butterfly feeling in your stomach, prior to the game. Depending on who were you facing and the situation of the season and this and that, you always have that thing in the back of your head that, you still got to play a game and you still got to perform. Old Timers Day gives me this opportunity, rare opportunity once a year, to experience a little bit of that, because you get people there saying, good luck, good luck in the game. And I was like, it's Old Timers game, this is like, why should I need good luck for? But, you're still going into this thing that you don't want to embarrass yourself. You want to make sure that you actually show people that you can still play a little better, you can still swing the bat. So it's that part of the mental aspect of it is something that I kind of enjoy.
There's one thing about you when you combine the worlds of baseball and music that has always surprised me, and that is for a good chunk of your career, when you walked to the plate, silence. You didn't want any walk-up music, and you would seem to have been the guy who would have wanted music. Why no music?
Well, actually, there's a lot of value in silence, and there's a place for silence in music. As a matter of fact, so a lot of the greatest jazz players, they really value the concept of silence, and they're improvising, just the breathing part. For my, in my standpoint, just going out to bat with, there are two reasons. Going out to bat with music will be too distracting for me, because my mentality is all about hearing everything that was around me. Listening to music is something that will take me away from the focus that I need to have on the field at that particular moment. And secondly, I wanted to keep it old school, man. I don't think I ever heard DiMaggio or Mickey Mantle or any of those guys back in the 40s and the 50s having I don't know, some crazy stuff going on.
No Frank Sinatra.
No Frank Sinatra. No Foxtrot. None of that stuff going out. So I think in a way I wanted to keep it more traditional in that sense.
I remember asking you this way back when, and you said early in your career when you kind of had no control over it, that someone just picked a Prince song, and you were batting to a Prince song for a while. Was it 1999? I think.
Yeah, I think they asked me what kind of music I liked, and I gave some lame songs. I think I was hitting for 10 years to Do in the Butt, something like that. It was just Do in the Butt. It was like, what?
But you had the power to change that. You could have changed that.
I never really paid any attention to it until Derek actually mentioned it to me. Dude, you're old. You're still hitting to this stuff. Are you kidding me? And that's when I said, you know what? I'm just going to shut it down.
You mentioned Derek. When you see guys that you played with, now Derek is obviously injured now, but still going, the Jeters, the Riveras, the Pettits, how much pride do you take in having been their teammate, seeing them still succeeding? I guess I got to start with Mariano, especially Mariano, 43 years old, still out there doing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, the most impressive thing about Mariano is the fact that he has been able to shut down almost two generations of players with one pitch, basically one pitch. And everybody at the stadium knows that what he's going to throw, and he still throws it, and they still can't hit it. To me, I don't know if I heard of anything like it in the history of the game. I mean, I know that somebody would have a great pitch, but they will always have a counter pitch, for it. Like Pedro had a great changeup to his fastball. I don't know. Doc had a great curveball. I don't know about anybody that has had just one pitch and has been able to dominate, for so long. With that pitch, I mean, that's one thing. The other thing is just to have his mentality, his consistency, the fact that he hasn't really been hurt that much, through his whole career, and to be a closer, you really need to have a different mentality, and to do it here in New York, of all places, and being so instrumental in the success of the team for all those years. I mean, it's just remarkable.
Take me through a typical day for Bernie Williams now. How much does it involve getting into the studio and music? How much is it shows and getting out there and performing?
It depends on the day. I think for the most part, it's a great thing to wake up in the morning and kind of figure out, okay, so what am I going to do today? It's a great feeling, after all this time playing baseball, in which from February 15th until in most years at the end of October, I was basically booked. I had to be at one place at a certain time, and everything was basically laid out for me to do, like a strict rule schedule. It is kind of cool to wake up saying I get to choose what I want to do today. So it depends. For the most part, I practice a lot of guitar. I get a chance to play in different places around in New York. I get to study, take lessons, and just taking advantage of a lot of the opportunities that New York, living in New York, gives an ex-player like me, going out and doing a lot of charity stuff, doing a lot of corporate stuff, speaking with corporations and speaking to kids, and doing a lot of try to get involved and get my mind occupied in something that really fills me up. To me that's the hardest part. To find something that gives you that drive that baseball used to give me. I don't think I can compare a lot of things with being a center fielder for the New York Yankees for most I don't know, 10, 12, 14 years. But I know that you have to go through this transitional period of time, from the time that you are going 1,000 miles an hour every day, competition, everything going at you, to this sort of old thoroughbred taken out to pastures, kind of that sort of like laid back kind of thing. So it was definitely an adjustment for me.
You mentioned playing center field for the Yankees, and you mentioned your predecessors before. You once told me that Joe DiMaggio came up to you and said, "You're doing a good job, kid, keep it up," and that you had your chest puffed out, and like you lived with that for months to have Joe DiMaggio say that to you.
Yeah, that was amazing. And as a matter of fact, I always look forward to when I was playing earlier in my years, and even later on, Old Timers Day, when they had an opportunity to come up, and Joe was always the last one to be introduced. Had a chance to meet Mickey Mantle. Cleve Boyer was my coach. In the minor leagues, Hank Bauer and all those guys, it seems like that it was something special about, the fact that they would come up and they would be dressed, in normal clothes, and they would be like, a little achy, kind of like, a little difficult to walk a little bit. But once they put the uniform on, they completely transformed themselves, and they were like, kids again, and they were like, ragging on each other, or telling jokes, and it was just great to see and to pick their brain a little bit and talk to them about how was the game back then. It gave me a sense of belonging to something bigger than myself, and to be part of this great family that has been around for 100 years. Family and tradition of excellence, and all this great stuff that is attributed to being a New York Yankee, and being part of it is just amazing to me.
And then you were afraid to ask DiMaggio for an autographed ball, you told me, or you were hesitant. But you got one from Mickey Mantle, but maybe your son had a little fun with that one?
Yes, he did. But he was probably about 2 years old. Actually, this is a great thing. At Old Timers Day, remember it was probably in the early 90s, Cleve Boyer said, "Hey kid, you want to meet the Mick?" And I was like, "Sure." I didn't know where he was, but they usually had him in the coach's clubhouse, and I got a chance to shake his hand. And to my surprise, he knew who I was. He said, "Oh yeah, Bernie. Well, yeah, I heard about you, man. Yeah, you're doing good, man. Yeah, keep up the good work." And I was like, "Awesome. Can you sign a ball for me?" So he said to Bernie, "You are great, Mickey Mantle."
Wow.
And as soon as I brought it home, my 3-year-old kid said, "Oh, baseball! Oh, pen!" He started scribbling a little bit on the ball, but I still have the ball with the scribbles, and it's one of the great stories of my career.
So it's still a ball to Bernie, and your son just added his element to it.
He's added his element, so it makes it even more personal to me.
Getting back to music, you mentioned how opportunities come because you're a Yankee and you're around the New York area. For people who want to see you play, how do they find out? Go to your website? Or?
Yeah, the easiest way would it be to go to my website, bernie51.com. They do a great job keeping it updated with events and things that I do around the city, and even outside of the city. Concerts, things that I do, like charity things that I do. So that's probably the best way to stay in tune with, the things that I'm doing around town.
So Steve Fortunato makes sure that website is updated.
He's making sure that everything stays. Steve is a great guy. We go way back, from his days at being a producer for Major League Baseball, and now you took him with me, to work on my marketing side, and he's definitely a great person to have around, and he's basically keeping me in track, all the things that I do, and making sure that I do the things that make sense, and in the course of the year, now with the music and being an player, you get all this very interesting set of circumstances in which I get hired to do, gigs for music, and then I get hired to do gigs for, being an ex-player, and then I get hired to do both, So I definitely need somebody that is in tune with all of that, and Steve just seems to be the perfect guy for it.
I'm fortunate, and I can tell anybody who wants to see you. I've seen you perform in Chicago. I've seen you perform in Venezuela. I've seen you perform in Colombia. I also heard you're going to be in Stamford, Connecticut, which the Yes Network. We're going to migrate over that day. We're going to find you in July. We're going to attend that performance.
Yeah, that will be fun.
And get to see you in action.
That would be great.
Before I let you go, we've got to have some more fun. 1991, that was a big year for you in baseball, right?
1991. Well, that was my first year.
That was your first year.
First year in the league.
We got 2 packs of Score baseball cards. We're both going to open them.
Okay.
I don't know that we're going to find a Bernie Williams. Whoever has the best card, and we might have to have a little debate, gets to keep both packs.
Okay.
Deal?
All right.
Let's see what we got. You might find some of your teammates in there.
Well, we have a great closer for the Red Sox, Jeff Reardon.
That's pretty good. I got Bo Jackson.
Oh.
I like my start. I like my leadoff.
Okay.
hitter. Oh, yes. This might be game over.
Oh,
Ricky
yeah,
Henderson.
Man. Hold on.
Wow. Oh, Ken Griffey Jr. I loaded the decks.
Just going to be a little academic here. And we got David Cohn.
Oh, wow. In a Met uniform. You got to like that.
In a Met uniform, Mark Lanson.
I got a second Ricky Henderson.
Henry Cotto. Oh, this is actually a personal favorite here. He played with the Yankees for a little bit, and he played in winter ball in Caguas, and he was always one step ahead of me in the minor league. I was kind of chasing him. He ended up going to Seattle. This is a Seattle card.
You know what? Even if you lose, I'll let you keep that one.
Yeah, man. There you go. You got Mark Davis. How about this guy?
Pete Incaviglia.
Yeah.
Big dude. Big hitter. I got
Dave
Nolan
Valley.
Ryan, Ricky Henderson, and Bo Jackson, and Ken Griffey Jr. I like my chances of
Dude,
winning this.
I think that set was rigged. Definitely.
I would never do that to you, Bernie. We go back too long. I would never do that to you. But I will let you keep the David Cohn and the Henry Cotto if you want. Other than that, I want the rest of them.
All right.
That's a deal?
That's a deal. I got Henry, and
I'll give you Coney.
Give me Coney. Well,
Yeah.
He's hiding from me now.
Yeah, where's Coney?
I don't think he wants to be here. Oh,
there
he
you
is.
go. K-Man, too. That's for all of his strikeouts.
Man.
Good deal, man. That victory is mine. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
All right.
We're going to see you out on the road.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.